Hello, everybody, and thank you for joining us today for our monthly public educational meeting at Los Angeles NORML. Today, we are honored to have some very exciting guests joining us to share their knowledge and experience as we discuss Consumer Awareness 101. There are many different categories of cannabis products that you will likely see on the shelf in your local dispensary, such as the traditional flower that we're all familiar with, but there are also other products such as edibles, concentrates, vapes, and beverages. We have the experts here today to break it down for you on what these products are, how they're made, and how you might possibly consume them. Today, we are truly honored to welcome Madison Fiore from Hawk Media, Dustin Miner from Cream of the Crop, Sara Adams from Mindset, Scott Szymanski from Buddies, Christopher Marroquin from Rove, Douglas Fulton from Tinley Beverages, and Joey Bravo from Respect My Region to provide some dope information and education for us today. Before we get started with the educational portion of our program today, I'd like to recognize the team here at Los Angeles NORML that's responsible for everything that we do. I'd also like to let you know that Los Angeles NORML is an all-volunteer, nonprofit organization, so it's important to remember that everyone on the team here is volunteering their time to push forward with the much-needed reform to our cannabis laws here in Los Angeles, California, and at the national level. And we would really appreciate your financial support. So please consider becoming a card-carrying member of Los Angeles NORML for only $4.20 per month by visiting www.lanorml.org, and that is just NORML.org. So our team consists of the legendary Bruce Margolin, who founded Los Angeles NORML in 1973 and is our director emeritus. Elizabeth Mack, RN, is our director of health and wellness. Hirsch Jane is our director of government affairs. Stephanie Uwe is our Deputy Director of Government Affairs. Brett Mackomer is our Director of Technology. Nicholas Castelli is our Director of Communications. Eric Goepel is our Director of Veterans Affairs. Dr. Swathi Varanasi is our Director of Science. Luis Rivera is our Director of Social Equity. Maha Huck is our Director of Education. Calvin Harris is our Director of Strategy and Development. Ryan Barrier is our Deputy Director of Sustainable Energy Solutions. And my name is Ian Rassman, and I'm the Executive Director here at Los Angeles NORML, and your truly, truly grateful host for today. So before we start bringing our guests out to talk about cannabis consumption, I'd like to introduce you to two of our Los Angeles board members who will provide some policy updates from the local, state, and federal level. Please welcome Stephanie Uwe from our Government Affairs team and Eric Goepel from our Veterans Affairs team that are here with today's policy updates.
Good afternoon, everyone. Like Ian said, my name is Stephanie Uwe, Deputy Director of Government Affairs. I also serve as the Director of Government Affairs and Licensing for Muse. All right, to start off our policy update, we have a local licensing update. So we'll be talking about various jurisdictions within the Southern California region and an update about what's happening there. So in El Monte, the first cannabis retailer received their state license. 6 dispensaries should open in the city by the end of the year. Long Beach, the city council is considering a proposal to expand Long Beach's retail program by licensing 8 social equity retailers. There are currently 32 cannabis retailers in the city of Long Beach. City of Los Angeles, of the 200 Los Angeles social equity retailers that have received their licenses as part of the Phase 3 Round 2 in September 2019, the first 5 received their state license in June 2021. These equity retailers will open for business in July or August and will be the first among the first equity retailers to open. This marks a major milestone for the city. However, it will likely take several months to a year for many of the remaining 200 stores to open their doors. City of Hawthorne. The City of Hawthorne began drafting a cannabis ordinance. It is expected to pass by the end of the year. Pasadena, after significant delays following Pasadena's January 2019 licensing process, a secondary dispensary, Green Thumbs Industry, opened for business in the city. A third dispensary, Harvest, is expected to open in the fall. West Hollywood, after significant delay following West Hollywood's December 2018 licensing process, a 5th business opened in the city. A 6th business is scheduled to open in the fall. All right, wrapping up our Los Angeles updates, Vernon. Vernon began drafting a cannabis ordinance. It is expected to pass by the end of the year. Moving along to Orange County, the city of Costa Mesa will release and begin accepting retail applications this Monday, August 2nd. Priority will likely be given to existing Costa Mesa operators. And then lastly, San Diego. The cities of National City, Encinitas, and Lemon Grove all passed their cannabis ordinances within the last 2 months. So expect more updates to come soon. And if my counterpart, Eric, has joined, then he can provide the federal update. I'll give Eric a... Oh, awesome. Hi, Eric.
Hey, Stephanie. Thank you. So real quick, I'm just going to address the Cannabis Opportunity the Cannabis Administration and Opportunity Act. This is the bill that was introduced. It hasn't been filed yet, so it is just the draft language has been introduced a couple weeks ago by Senators Schumer, Booker, and Wyden. So this is the first real movement in the Senate on a broad federal reform bill that includes descheduling as well as the major components of the MORE Act, which is something that National NORML has endorsed as well as working actively on. The bill has some major issues though, right off the bat. Probably biggest of them being the graduated 25% excise tax that is being proposed. They're looking, as part of the discussion draft, they've included language that would also create a national track and trace system, create national limits on on the amount of cannabis that an adult can purchase in a given transaction and things of that nature. A lot of stuff that me personally as an advocate I don't agree with, and think that it is something that it has the potential to kill the bill in its current form. But right now it is all open for public comment. So if you have the opportunity, please go and take a look at the Cannabis Opportunity. Excuse me, one more time. The Cannabis Administration and Opportunity Act, and follow up. There's a email that we'll post in the chat that has been set up by Schumer's office to directly receive comments. So it's not just posting into some rando website. You get to email your comments directly to Senate staff, and this is an opportunity to help shape some federal legislation potentially. So take advantage of that.
Fantastic. Stephanie and Eric, thank you so much for those great updates. So now let's jump right into some cannabis consumption. So I'm going to turn you over to another one of our board of directors, Nicholas Castelli, who is going to introduce our first guest today.
Thank you, Ian, Steph, and Eric. Great as always. Appreciate you guys, and pleasure to be here with everybody. And it's my pleasure to introduce a friend of mine, and his name is Madison Fiore. He is the director of growth at Hawk Media, located in Los Angeles. And they do a lot of good work in the marketing and advertising space. Madison Fiore is a performance marketing and business strategist at his core. Over the last 10 years, he has worked with and professionally consulted for over 200 different brands. Recently, his primary focus has been in the cannabis industry, which is why we have him on the board here. He has worked with more than 30 of the most prestigious brands in the space, spoke at cannabis events nationwide, and is currently counsel for Weed Week, a cannabis publication based in Los Angeles. So Madison's going to be talking about how COVID affected cannabis over the last, we all just went through it for the last year and a half, and a lot has changed. He'll give us an overview on that, what the marketing mix is for different brands, the different brands that are out there, the type of work they're doing, how they're doing it, what the future of the cannabis industry kind of looks like, it's kind of molding into. And also different product types, which we're going to talk about here today, and also which ones are trending up and trending down. So without further ado, Madison, my man, welcome.
Hey, thank you so much for having me. This is fun, man. Obviously, I've been following you guys for a long time. Happy to be a part of it and happy to be on here today. Just want to kind of give you guys an update on what we're seeing. So just to add some context, I'm the head of growth over at Hawk. I really head up what we call the Canna team internally. As an agency, we're about 200 people. The cannabis team within Hawk, probably about 15 of us. And like he said, we work with a lot of big brands. We work with a lot of small brands. And then right now we're actually working on a lot of some of the largest flower companies helping them develop edibles, right? Because we're seeing a lot of momentum in the edible space. In 2020, we saw over 4 billion in revenue in California for cannabis. Every single age demographic had edibles as their most likely to purchase, besides Gen Z, which was interesting. They kind of stuck to their guns with vape. And even with kind of vape gate going on and people having a little bit of a nerves or trepidation jumping into vapes, a lot of people that were already using them are considered still using them. What we're seeing on the brand side, which is really interesting, and you're probably seeing this from the dispensaries and the delivery services, is a lot of them are going after kind of the canna curious, right? The people that aren't the daily consumer, the people that are, maybe trying it for the first time, or maybe doing it once a month, or maybe once a quarter, or a couple times a year. So they're creating products that are super easy to consume, right? Like edibles. We saw drinks break into the top 5 in terms of purchase product types in 2020, when it wasn't even really on the graph or on the chart in years prior. And that's because people are used to socially drinking, right? When they go out, they're used to drinking. And so giving them an opportunity to drink something when they go out and have fun is something that we're seeing a lot of brands kind of take advantage of that momentum on. Very interesting. I think another thing that we find very interesting is that, prior to 2019, almost all sales were happening in a dispensary, right? Now, almost half of sales are happening through a delivery service. Luckily, we work with a few delivery services at Hawk, so we have been able to ride that momentum. And we saw an increase of over 50% of new customer purchases happen on a delivery service last year. And obviously last year is a unique situation. But the fact that the cannabis industry was dubbed essential is really integral to the fight that we have to normalize cannabis. Another thing that I find very interesting is that in the year 2020, there were more votes in the United States for cannabis than there were for either president. So more people voted for cannabis than they voted for their president, which is pretty exciting. I think all of us can agree that's a good sign of things to come. And I think that, when Biden mentioned that he wasn't anti-cannabis was a really big moment for him, because a lot of Democrats are obviously pro-cannabis. And so that was a really big moment. Hopefully he actually comes through with that. Obviously, we're excited to see it come into fruition, but we just got to sit in our hands and wait. The one thing that I think is really interesting, as a lot of you guys probably know, Facebook is prohibited for both CBD and THC. Google is prohibited. Most radio is prohibited. TV is prohibited. And so as an agency, we've had to work to identify ways to acquire customers. And the most common way that we're seeing that work is by pushing them to some sort of delivery service, because we're able to at least track the click, which gives us attribution on the marketing side. But that's really the majority of what I wanted to talk about. I know I had about 6 or 7 minutes here and want to keep the show on the road. Nicholas, I appreciate having me on here, and I'm excited to watch the rest of the show.
Man, our pleasure, man. Thanks for coming on, and great points. A lot of those demographic things was interesting, and the Gen Z thing is, I'm not surprised, but it is a good pull from data there. That's something that's intriguing, and hopefully other people can leverage that piece and move on and grow their brands and their space. So I appreciate you, man, and stick around, and we'll do a Q&A at the end of the show. So appreciate
Awesome.
it. Take care.
Thank you.
Yep, bye.
All right, thanks, Nick. Hi, everyone. I'm Brett Maycumber, your technology officer for the chapter. I'm excited to be able to introduce today Sara Adams. Sara Adams is from Mindset. She founded Mindset Cannabis in 2018 after an 18-year career in the pharma industry. She was able to take her passion for the world's most loving plant and combine it with her knowledge of science to create products that are specifically formulated to bring about a desired effect. Her award-winning chocolates are much sought after, not only for their amazing taste, but also for the reliable experience each produces. And I had a chance to look at your website before the meeting here, and you guys do present your products with a how do you want to feel type of approach, right? So tell us more about that, and we'd be happy to hear.
Yeah, okay. Well, I was actually going to start out talking about edibles in general.
That'd be fine.
I would get to our products in a bit. So we're going to talk about edibles. This is, just an overview. I mean, when you think edibles, you think what? Pot brownies, right? But, nowadays everything's changed. Everything is strictly regulated and tested. So consumers, you have the peace of mind when you shop at a legal dispensary. But now you have a whole different problem. You have to choose between all of these different products, gummies, chocolates, drinks, candies, right? So how do you choose what you should get? So of course, first you can choose products based on what you like to eat. If you like chocolate, then get chocolate. If you like gummies, get gummies. But really, beyond that, we want consumers to really start thinking about other factors such as dosage, onset time, duration, and effects, right? So first, you should really look at dosage, right? So all legal cannabis products have to list their per piece dosage and also the total cannabinoid content for the entire package. So the one cannabinoids, obviously, we look at is THC. BCC limits that the total THC content per package is 100 milligrams. And they also set the standard dose to be 10 milligrams of THC. So that means BCC thinks that 10 milligrams of THC works really well for most people. But if you're a brand new user or a lightweight user, kind of the kind of curious user, you probably want to start out more of a microdosing side, like 5 milligrams, which is half of the standard dose. So when I say lightweight too, I don't mean physical weight. So you can calculate your dosage based on your physical weight. Just because somebody's heavier doesn't mean that you're going to be able to handle a heavier dose. So you really have to experience cannabis for yourself, start out small, and then see what really works for you. Right. So next, you want to think about onset time and duration. So when I say start out small and see, I don't mean take 5 milligrams of chocolate, wait 15 minutes, feel nothing, and take another one. Right? Don't do that. I mean, you're going to end up with probably a higher dose than you can handle. So the most edible products are made with standard cannabis extract, this oil-based. So with this type of extract, it takes like anywhere from 30 minutes to 2 hours. So to avoid having too much, you really should wait 2 hours before taking the next dose. I mean, I know you don't want to wait 2 hours. So until you really know how much you can handle, just take that time, wait it out, and you'll have a better chance. Better time. So once that onset begins, the effect will peak at around an hour and a half. And the total duration is going to be about 3 to 5 hours. So there are a few factors that would affect that onset time. So one of them is fat. The fat content of the edible is really important because cannabinoids in general need to bind with fat in order to be absorbed by your body. So if you are a very conscious eater that you don't eat fat and you eat a gummy, so there's like basically no fat in your stomach, it's going to take a lot longer, probably an hour and a half to 2 hours. But if you eat, regular diet, you have fat in your stomach, and you eat like a chocolate, then you'll be looking at a much shorter onset time, maybe 30 minutes to 45 minutes. Since chocolate contains mostly fat and the cocoa butter, so it will be easier to absorb by the body. So the more fat in the product, the better absorption. So there's one more factor that affects the onset time, is the way the cannabis extract is prepared. So as I mentioned, most edibles are made with cannabis extract oil, but there's a type of process called nano-emulsification. So this process turns cannabis oil into water-soluble extract. And I see that we have a beverage speaker later on, so I'm gonna skip over most of these and just say that it's faster onset, but it lasts a little bit shorter, and most drink products are made with this type of preparation. So now the most important factor, I think, it would be effect. So depending on the effects that you want, you can choose different types of products. So obviously with cannabis, we need to talk about entourage effect. So entourage effect is when different components in the cannabis work together to give you a totally different effect than you would expect by just combining the two components together, right? So this is kind of like 1 + 1 doesn't equal to 2. So that's what we know as the entourage effect. So how do edible products leverage that effect? The truth is right now, most of the edible products out there don't leverage the entourage effect. Most of them are made with THC distillate. So meaning that the only cannabinoid in the product is THC. the distillation process removes most terpenes and minor cannabinoids, therefore removing the entourage effects. So with these products, you'll still get high. You just won't have that kind of multi-layer experience that you would get normally with smoking a flower. So now people trying to recreate that effect, that entourage effect when you're smoking with edibles. So some products are now, you'll see full spectrum. So full spectrum means that cannabis extract use did not go through the distillation process. Therefore, it has all of the natural terpenes and the whole cannabinoid profile. So these products tend to rely on the interaction between THC and terpenes to bring on the different entourage effect. So you'll most likely feel the different attributes than the THC distillate products. And so you have a little bit more of that entourage effect, though terpenes tend to get destroyed by our digestive systems before they have a chance to interact. So it may not be as pronounced as if you're smoking the flowers. So now I want to talk about our company and our product. So the latest trend is formulation with minor cannabinoids to really bring on a very specific effect. So now that, with legalization, there are more and more science-based research and studies. And we are seeing some, few innovative companies like Mindset to start work with minor cannabinoids in fun ways. So what we have realized that entourage effects brought on by minor cannabinoids are much stronger going through the digestive system than terpenes. So you can actually feel that strong difference. So like I said, Mindset Cannabis, we came from the pharma and biotech industry. So we have that expertise in formulations. So we were able to really work with these cannabinoids and really research for the ratios and find what really works. So we work with CBN, THCV, CBG, and obviously CBD to get that effect. So one of our products, chocolate colitas. So our colitas are made with Belgian chocolate, and they're really for microdosing. So our peace colitas here are formulated with THC and CBN, which brings on a very strong, sedative effect, like indica. It is also a sleep aid. So our next is our love colitas, and these are formulated with THC and THCV. And THCV is awesome. It's a rare cannabinoid that is an appetite suppressant. So you don't get the munchies. And also is an aphrodisiac, and that's why we call it love. So it is it'll bring a very strong sativa kind of energy. And our hybrid is our happiness colita. And these are formulated with THC and CBG. CBG is known to balance your mood. So it has anti-paranoia and anti-depression type of effects. So that is our peace, love, and happiness. Those are our indica, sativa, and hybrid. We also have 3 other products, Groovy, Solace, and Limitless. And these are THC and CBD ratio products. And they're really formulated for wellness, therapeutic support, and when you need a confidence boost. So you can find more information about our products on our website, mindsetcannabis.com. You can also follow us on Instagram at mindsetcannabis. So a little recap, when you're looking for edibles, consider dosage, onset time, duration, and most importantly, the effects you're looking for.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Sara.
Thank you for having me. That was fun.
We learned so much in that tiny little space, and there's so much more to explore in the world of edibles as you work with different compounds and explore different, methods of production and infusion and all kinds of stuff.
Right, exactly. I mean, it's really exciting. We're discovering new cannabinoids that does different things. It's limitless.
Fantastic. All right, we're going to move along now. Thank you so much for your time. Eric Goepel is going to introduce our next speaker, and we'll let you take it away, Eric.
All right. Let me turn off my video here because I'm having trouble. Yes, so it's my pleasure to introduce Dustin Miner. the Chief Executive Officer and co-founder at Better Than Good Holdings Incorporated. Better Than Good cultivates, manufactures, and distributes its products to hundreds of retailers across California, and is responsible for one of California's best-selling flower brands, Cream of the Crop, the fastest growing cannabis brands. Excuse me, and the fastest growing cannabis brands. I apologize, Dustin. I screwed this up a little bit, but let me just say, I'm a big fan of Cream of the Crop. Dustin and the Cream of the Crop folks have been supporting patients for years, and particularly one of my favorite patients, Josh LaCroix, and they are also supporters of some of our SB 34 work as well. So thank you very much, Dustin, and over to you.
Yeah, thank you, Eric. It's a pleasure to be joining you guys. We've been big supporters, big fans of the work that NORML is doing way before Prop 64. So really appreciate everything you guys are doing to drive the evolution of our industry. But you guys brought me here to talk about flower, and we as a company do a little more than flower. So as you noted, we own two brands. Really, our flagship is Cream of the Crop. It's a really premier cannabis brand that really focuses on inhalables. And then we also own a sister brand called West Coast Trading Company that focuses on more value-based products. But as far as flower goes, and inhalables specifically, it's really exciting, all of the things that are happening with flower right now, not just innovations and evolutions on the cultivation side of things, but then also what people are doing with it as far as not just the flower, but how we're infusing pre-rolls, the type of cannagars that are being made, extracts that are being made. And, obviously every product starts with, at least every cannabis product starts with the flower. So our focus has always been to produce the highest level quality of flower that we can. And that's really always been our mission. We've been cultivating for a little over 10 years. And we really focus the primary mass of our efforts on indoor. So I was asked to explain a little bit about kind of how it's made, and what I can say to that is it's love, data, and a lot of attention to detail. So for us, we got into this because we wanted to, we're smokers ourselves. So we wanted to consume the best possible flower on the market. And if you want anything done right, you got to do it yourself. And so that's really kind of what set us down this journey beginning in 2012. As we've grown, so have the methodologies and technology that's available in cultivation, which has been really wonderful to see how the industry is continuing to innovate and provide new ways and resources to continue to push the envelope in terms of cultivation. One of the most recent is probably just LED lighting technology. It's been around for many, many years, but just over the last couple of years, it's really started to become something that can be reliable and start to take the place of double-ended high-pressure sodium light fixtures. And what we're finding with LED technology is increased yields in terms of grams per square foot, but we're also finding that it produces higher levels of cannabinoid content and terpene content in the flower itself. Beyond the lighting, though, our pretty much how we make it is like I said, it's a lot of love and attention to detail. We meticulously monitor and track the environmental controls in all of our rooms. As I said, we almost exclusively grow indoors. We do some consulting on outdoor and greenhouse projects, but our internal team focuses on indoor cultivation only. We do everything out of cocoa cubes. Everything that we use is all natural and organic practices, from pest management to feeding. We produce our own in-house nutrients because, again, we've been experimenting and trying things and innovating internally pretty much the whole time. So as we look at how we can minimize costs, increase efficiency, increase qualities, we found that just continue to experiment with new technologies and new practices has worked out really well for us. When we think about cultivation as a whole, though, I think most indoor cultivators, or at least the ones that are focused on quality, it's really not. We're not cultivating flower. Really, what we are is we're trichome farmers. So it's all about really producing the best possible content in trichomes that are contained on the flower. So for us, what that means is extremely rigorous processes and practices, so that we're doing everything that we can to preserve trichomes and trichome coverage on the flower. This means avoiding touching the buds by hand, not agitating the flower, moving it around too much. Obviously, controlling the environment through every step in the value chain. but then really managing on from a quality control standpoint as well. So whether it's in trim, where we're instructing all of our trimmers to never ever touch the bud, so we can make sure that we're preserving those trichomes, even into our packaging, where we're doing a double QC checkpoint just to make sure that the flower meets our standards. We as a brand really focus on quality, since that's, cream of the crop. That's really what it's based on. But as I said, kind of every product that we produce starts with flower. So then some of our other products, the high terpene concentrates, our diamond barrel, which is 1.2 grams of flower and 0.2 grams of diamonds wrapped in all natural black paper with a black obsidian tip. These are all things that came from innovation. So when we think about what our industry, farmers, and what customers and consumers should be looking for, is look for people and companies that are pushing the boundaries. They're trying to do new things and evolve the industry in new ways, because those are typically the ones that you'll find the most interesting products and approaches in. For us, it's really 4 key areas that we focus on. And first is delivering our brand promise. Every time you open a jar or an eighth of cream of the crop, you're expecting a hand-cured, hand manicured, hand-trimmed bud that's covered in trichomes with a nose that really fills up the room the second that you open the jar. Beautiful aesthetic, and you're expecting to be satisfied. Our eighth is typically one of the more expensive eighths on the shelf, and so we know that when our customers do choose to purchase an eighth of our flower, it needs to really hit all marks. So for us, delivering on that brand promise is incredibly important, and doing it consistently. So that way, every time that you buy a cream of the crop product, it's going to be the same as it was last time. It's going to meet the expectations that you have. Our third real focus area is innovation. Again, doing things a little differently and trying to create one-of-a-kind experiences for our customers is something that has contributed to the growth of the company, but I think it's something that's contributed to the growth of the industry, as every company looks at new ways that they can bring value to customers. We're in a position, and that's one of the things that makes the cannabis industry so amazing, is there's so much room for innovation and experimentation. And as the last speaker said, we're just starting to scratch the surface on what cannabis can really do. But as we continue to progress down that path, we're creating products that bring real true value to customers' lives or consumers' lives on a day-to-day basis. And if we can do that with ways that create memorable experiences that are consistent, I think that's how as a brand and as the industry we can win. But most importantly, I think it's about connecting with the consumers as well. That's something that is challenging to do from a brand standpoint, simply because unless you're vertically integrated and own the retail location, we have this wonderful intermediary called the retail dispensary or delivery. So we're figuring out and experimenting with ways that we can better connect with our customers. We have an entire team that's dedicated to working with consumers through our Instagram channel, through our website and inquiries that come in there. And then building relationships so that we're promoting our pop-up events so people can come by and see us. And then also working with wonder people, Eric, as you mentioned, like Josh, that we can continue to contribute towards the value and the good that cannabis can do in people's lives. So I hope that gives you a little overview of cream of the crop and hopefully of flower.
Thank you so much, Dustin. And I'd like to hand it over to, sorry, looking at my list, who's up next? Stephanie and Scott.
How's it going, guys? I'm Scott with Buddy's Brand. I'm here to talk today a little bit more about concentrates with you guys. Buddy's Brand focuses on a number of concentrates. One of our most popular concentrates would be our live resin category. Live resin extracts are created using subcritical temperatures throughout the whole extraction process, preserving the resin glands in a live state. When you have live resin, you can have different size diamonds or THCA crystals within your live resin extract. You will also find your terpene layer in your live resin extract, which is a liquid layer. Live resin is definitely one of the most popular extracts on the California market right now. It can be also found in a cartridge form, which seems to be very popular as well. We also do crumble. Crumble is created with cured dried flower. The cured dried flower comes from different farms across California. We work with a number of great cultivators from Northern California and Southern California. We also create a lot of really great extracts. We are getting ready to get into the non-solvent category, which is another category that is also very popular when it comes to extracts. You have your hash rosin extract, and hash rosin is created with a heat press, and through heat and pressure, you're creating a resin that comes out in a liquid form, and then it hardens, and it can be dabbed as well. When you're dabbing, we want to make sure that you're always dabbing at low temperatures. If you have an e-nail or a nail that has temperature settings, you want to be around 500 to 600 degrees. If you're using Puffco peaks, you want to use your lower temperature on the Puffco peaks, as well as any electronic devices. This helps unlock the different terpenes that you will find in cannabis, and the terpenes give you the different types of flavors. And there's a number of different terpenes found in cannabis. There's about 6 to 8 of the most popular and major terpenes that we find. This also creates a full spectrum extract, which gives you the entourage effect, which we spoke about a few moments ago. The entourage effect gives you, a full high. It gives you, a very high note from the different qualities that you get. I think that pretty much covers the different extracts. You can also find different ones. Let's see here. So we have batter, sugar, and sauce, and those are also very popular. I would say that sugar is one that you'll see a lot of. It's solvent-based, contains microcrystals of THC similar in size to the grains of sugar or salt, floating in terpenes and flavonoids. Batter is kind of like a cake consistency, and with batter, you whip it up from a cured extract, and it gives it the batter consistency. And then we get into water hash. With water hash, you are taking ice and separating it from the plant matter using water and ice, mixing it with the plant, and it has bubble bags at the bottom that capture all of the sap. And I think that pretty much covers all of our extract category. Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you for coming, Scott.
Yeah, great stuff. Great stuff, Scott. Thanks, man. So I think I'm up here, right? With what do we got? Chris Marroquin, no?
Right? Sir. Yes. Hi, guys.
What's up, man?
Hey, everybody. Thanks.
Quick intro. Hold on 1 second, man. Chris Marroquin is the director of manufacturing for Rove. He manages all the details for production in the 5 states that Rove currently is licensed to operate in. Scott joined Rove while living in Nevada in 2017 and relocated to California in 2020, where Rove's headquarters is located. Welcome to Cali, man.
I appreciate that.
What's not going on over there, Rove? I've seen you guys around, at different events and stuff, and let's let the people know.
I appreciate that. Yeah, thank you. So yeah, we are, our headquarters is based here in California. Our facility is located in the Costa Mesa area. But we do currently operate in 6 states, actually, which we're really happy about expanding ever since we started in 2016. We did launch in 2016 here in California with our vape products. And that's what I'm here to talk to you guys about today is cannabis and vaping cannabis. So I really just want to start with, what is vaping? What is vaping? And vaping is an alternative to combustible smoking. It produces a fine mist that is a delivery method for cannabis being absorbed via the lungs. In order to vape cannabis, 2 pieces are required, really: a power source, a heating power source, and a cartridge. The cartridge is contains the heating element that is powered by the battery source. And then the cartridge also houses the liquid that you would be vaporizing as well. You know, some of the benefits of vaping cannabis as opposed to combustible smoking would be its discreetness, its onset, and then also the ability to produce less carcinogenic compounds just than combustion, just by nature of atomizing the liquid into a vapor. You know, a big part of this is there's a lot of, I guess, mystique on how these products are made. You know, and there's been a lot of advancements since we started in 2016. When we started in 2016, we were using CO2 extraction to extract this oil. And I do want to touch a little bit about kind of how these are made. So carts, ideally, not ideally, carts, more than not, you tend to see them produced with distillate. And the reason, and what distillate is, distillate is refined cannabinoids. It's the cannabis extract that's been refined. And when I say refined, I mean it's devoid of terpenoids, flavonoids, plant matter, plant fats, chlorophyll. You know, by definition, you know, distillate is devoid of all of that. In the distillate world, things like your terpenes, when you're producing distillate, things like your terpenes, your plant matter, your flavonoids, all those are impurities in a sense. The reason they're impurities is because they don't add to the psychoactive effect. So what we're looking for with distillate is just the cannabinoids, is purifying the cannabinoids by eliminating everything the plant has before that. And you know, before we do that though, we do take the essential oils of the plant. For example, we take the terpenes, which is the essence of the plant, kind of like what Sarah was saying. You know, if you were to vaporize a cartridge that is 90% THC, this in effect would be like consuming Bacardi 151, right? In my opinion, it's not a pleasant experience. You really need something like the terpenes or the flavonoids to guide you, or to provide that entourage effect, and to give the effect direction, whether it's going to be like you know, a couch lock effect or more of a creative effect. The terpenes play a huge role in that, as well as the minor cannabinoids. So in order to make this distillate, when you extract it via CO2 extraction or ethanol extraction, there's also hydrocarbon extractions where you can use butane or propane. You end up with a crude oil, and that crude oil has to be then refined, more than likely by distillation, either white film distillation. And the purpose of that is to remove those contaminants, such as the fats, the chlorophylls, any of the plant matter, any of the terpenes that are still residing in that crude oil that haven't been extracted prior to processing the plant. The reason it's important to extract those terpenes before you process the plant is because they're at their most pristine when you first handle the plant. Before you've done anything to it, before even storing it, you're going to before even storing it, you know, you want to preserve those terpenes. The longer it stays in storage, the longer it stays in a vessel, you're going to evaporate those terpenes. When you walk into a room and you smell cannabis, those are the terpenes leaving that plant. So, you know, here at Rove, we do 3 different product lines as far as vapes. We do our featured farms, we do our black box, which is a flavored cart, and then we also do our remedies, which is a CBD cart. For our featured farms line, it is 100% cannabis. So we do use cannabis distillate, but we do combine it with its own plant. So for example, we have here a baccio. This baccio, whether it was trim, smalls, or flower, we extracted the crude extract and then combined it with the terpenes that we extracted prior to extracting the extract. So really, when you are a consumer, say, of baccio, if you like baccio and you've been consuming flower baccio for a while, you're going to build a tolerance. So really, with a pen, it concentrates that flower, and you're able to get the same effect from the flower, but in a higher dose. Let's see if I want to touch on anything regarding vape. I know we're right on schedule now, but no, that's it. That's it, guys. I'll wait for any questions at the end if we have any.
Cool, Chris. Thanks a lot, man. Really appreciate it, man. This is it's all great stuff. And I'm gonna turn over to our director of social equity here, Luis Rivera.
Thank you, Nate.
Ciao, ciao.
Thank you. Great stuff. So I'm going to keep the show going. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. Great content. I'm here to introduce Doug Fulton of Tinley Beverages. He's known as a pioneer actually in the industry, in this emerging industry. He's also a member of the board of directors of Tinley Beverage Company, a Canadian publicly listed company. He also is an award winner of the European winning television executive and consumer lifestyle product entrepreneur. Mr. Fulton also served as the president of entertainment with Dave Networks, where he created enterprise partnership with MGM, CBS, ABC, Disney, to name a few, as SVP Europe for SBA Broadcasting, a NASDAQ listed company. So he's also launched the European's first private broadcast channel in 11 countries. So he's been featured in Time Magazine and Hollywood Reporter and C21. So without further ado, let me introduce you to Douglas Fulton and go ahead and take it away from there.
Thanks so much. This has been great listening to everybody because I've heard bits and pieces, especially from Madison and Sara, which apply exactly to what we do about beverage. So in the market of beverages, they have become and are becoming much more socially acceptable at parties, dinners. It's a form that is not invasive, if you will, to people that are not cannabis users. And we're seeing during the pandemic, as Madison had said, there was a skyrocket in home delivery. And we are putting great emphasis in home delivery. And it's not just in the area of the consumer because they want it delivered and it's nice and it's easy. We're seeing a whole range of new consumers, from young people to moms with kids on soccer teams to young professionals. And as crazy as it sounds, my family is a dual citizen family, US and Finland, and a very good friend of ours, retired folks, 91-year-old architect who still has his business going in Santa Monica, was with us about a week and a half ago. And he's an advocate of this one right here, our Juniper Sky. This is a gin and tonic. I'll tell you more about these. They have no alcohol, but I'll explain Tinley's products in a second. So in the world of beverages, we're seeing not only a big diversity of different types of new consumers coming in, we're also seeing a very clear delineation also between microdosing and not microdosing. So for example, we have seen in the 2-ounce shot category of 100 milligrams. Now, if I were to take something like that, I'd be on the floor. But for people that are high tolerance levels and want a quick onset within 10 to 15 minutes, these particular drinks are flying off the shelf. For the microdose user, as the people I previously described, it's more of a social setting. So, and those are like 5 milligrams to 10 milligrams per serving. So Tinley Beverage, what that's all about, we actually have 3 legs of business, and we're a public listed, Canadian public listed stock exchange company. We operate in Canada and in California. So our 3 lines of business, we have our Tinley drinks, which I'll explain these to you in a sec, and they are all cannabis infused. We also have non-cannabis infused to go after the sober curious market. It's exactly our same drinks that you see here, but they have no cannabis. And we also have in Long Beach, just newly commissioned and opened in December, the largest manufacturing facility in all of California for beverages. So we have a 20,000 square foot facility. 13,000 of that is under the type N license. We're receiving our distro license, not for last mile. We will not do that. We're getting our distro license in about 3 to 4 weeks. We're already approved, just waiting on that to come. So we can do certificate of analysis on site. And at our manufacturer, we have bottling facilities that we can do 1 million bottles a month, 3,600 bottles an hour. We have a canning line. We have a mini line, which does the 2-ounce shots. And we also have, which no one else in the state has, is tunnel pasteurization. Now, the reason that we really put in tunnel pasteurization is there is a trend in beverages that people are not drinking alcohol, but they would like to have the taste of alcohol or something similar. So cannabis infused beer, non-alc wine, and non-alc cider are going to be one of the next big trends that you will see in beverage. Our facility has the capability to take in the pressurized oxygen-free totes to do any of the non-alc or de-alc processes. And then we send it through the tunnel pasteurization for the micro kill step. So we have no fermentation and that. And then we do all the other types of drinks as well, the seltzers, the beverages, and I can tell you some of the clients because they've been announced. We do like Not Your Father's root beer for Pabst. We do Calexo yesterday and today. We just finished a couple more flavors for Good Stuff tonics. Tomorrow we're doing Cannabis Quencher, and we run our own products as well. And we have all those 3 lines going all the time. And that's been since December when we actually opened it up for commercial business. Now, the drinks that you see here, how they came about, again, coming from a social idea. Our founder and CEO up in Canada, Jeff Macer, he doesn't drink alcohol. He came from the finance world, and he was tired of going to the bar at the end of every day with all of his colleagues and standing there with a club soda and lime and being the odd man out. And the idea hit him and said, why doesn't somebody come up with an alcohol-inspired cannabis drink with no alcohol? And that was the seed for the idea. So everything in Tinley products are alcohol inspired. So as I pointed out, this is called Juniper Sky. It's a gin and tonic. The reason it's called Juniper Sky is because in our California world of naming, you cannot have alcohol names. And gin and tonic comes from the juniper berry. We have margarita, which we call Stone Daisy. The reason, Daisy is the name for the person's name in Spanish, Margarita. We have Mystic Dove, which is tequila, Paloma, I should say, wrong one here. Let me see if I can find the Mystic Dove. Here we go, Mystic Dove. So that's the tequila Paloma style drink, but again, no alcohol. And then we have 2 award winners at Emerald Cup, first and second place, the High Horse, which is Moscow Mule, and our Malibu Coconut Rum, which we call Coconut Cask. Now, the difference between the cask and the tonics are, a tonic is 30 calories and 5 grams of sugar. The cask has 8 servings. It's 5 milligrams per serving. It has 10 calories and 2 grams of sugar per serving. So we have the Malibu rum, which we call Coconut Cask. We have Almond Cask, which is an amaretto. And we have Cinnamon Cask, which is a fireball, if you were to go to the bar and get shots. So you can use any of these to make your drinks, just like you would with alcohol, for all of your mocktails, but you're not using alcohol. So that was the premise coming behind Tinley's brand. So we have the 2 branded lines, Tinley's Cannabis Infused, Beckett's non-cannabis infused, which are the same drinks. You'll find them in BevMo, and you'll also find them in Tennessee because we have launched greatly in Tennessee the past month and a half because the television show Chrisley Knows Best on USA Network with NBC, Todd Chrisley and his family love this, and they have now incorporated this into the next 3 years of shows in their storyline, the Beckett's. And then we have our manufacturing, and at our manufacturing, we have the brands that I just told you about, and we've got probably another 60, 70 more in queue that we'll be manufacturing and delivering for. And on the mixture of how things are made, as Sara was referring to, we use nanotechnology. So the onset is 10 to 15 minutes. Our science partner, the choice that we went with our science partner was for onset, clarity, and no cannabis taste. So we mix terpenes back in and we get the full flavor. And all of our formulations came from the original premium brand alcohol companies that you know for the tequila, for the items used in each one. So they taste exactly like the real thing, but there's no alcohol. And that's where we kind of see beverages taking off. And in the market share, they did hit in the top 5 this past year. They're going to increase extremely fast. And if you compare to Canada, which we are in Canada currently also with our non-cannabis drinks, our cannabis will be in fall. Cannabis drinks in Canada in less than 1 year have already hit 9% of the cannabis sector of the whole country. So we're seeing a true hockey stick acceleration, if you will, in a growth curve of the beverages. So that's kind of it for me, guys. That's a sum of the market, Tinley, and where the market's going with drinks.
Thank you, Doug. That was amazing. I'm here right now for a special introduction of the next speaker. It's a good friend of mine, and I'm happy to see him here. Joey Brabo from Respect My Region. Joey Brabo is the co-owner, brand director, head editor, content creator, and overall mover and shaker within the industry in his role with the lifestyle brand Respect My Region. Respect My Region was established at Central Washington University back in 2011, starting off a clothing company that heavily supported local hip hop. Over the years has grown into a lifestyle brand and top 100 music website. They have been media partners for the largest music festivals, cannabis conventions, and have supported hundreds of events all along the West Coast. Respect My Region loves local music and cannabis culture from all regions, and they've made it their mission to support locally in every way that they know how. So right now, Joey, this is my buddy, no pun intended.
What's going on, y'all? How are you guys? Can everybody see me okay? Hear me okay?
I have no visual of you. What about you guys?
No video.
All right, that's weird. Let me see what I can do real quick here. All right, here we go. Better?
There you go. There you go, Joe.
All right, there we go. Sorry about that, guys. Well, man, I really appreciate you, Calvin, my man. What an introduction. It's an honor, pleasure to see you guys. LA NORML, y'all, thank you so much. Big respect to everybody who presented and shared all the information before this, man. I have a lot of respect for the brands and all the people that are a part of this. Los Angeles NORML, thank you guys so much for the opportunity. I'm here today to talk to you guys a little bit about cannabis consumption and the various types of smoking devices, the ways that you can consume. As you guys can see, I've got a whole table full of products here. I got beverages, I got flour, we got this, look at this, we got a cross joint that I picked up the other day. There's so many different kinds of products out there. And I'm blessed to actually have gotten my break in the industry as a bud tender and also as a brand ambassador for Leafly. So I'm real big on the education. I'm real big on using science to educate and communicate, and also digital. And so to do this with you guys, I'm very excited. Now, some of the products that I wanted to talk to you guys about today are going to range from smokables to the dabbables to the vapables. I got some drinkables here. Shout out to Tinley's. Apologies. I should have went and picked up the Tinleys before the episode. So that was my bad on that one. But yeah, we've got some really good stuff today. So I wanted to first start off by doing something that kind of, my day job, I do work for Buddy's Brand, to everybody watching. So I wanted to at least start off with a couple of the easy ones. Vape carts, for the most part, super simple. You buy a vape cart, it's in a package, you get a battery, you twist it on as such. It's a 510 thread. That's general terminology here. A 510 thread with a battery. I'm using an iSpire battery because it tells me the little voltage that it's on. And then it's really simple. When you're dabbing live resin, when you're vaping live resin, you want to do lower temperatures, and you don't want to make sure, you really don't want to get it too hot or have it be hot for a longer period of time. So I always tell people when they're vaping, 4 to 6 seconds if you're doing live resin. So 5 seconds, you get a nice good taste of the weed, and you can always go from there. Now, one of the OGs that taught me as a bud tender, he told me, yo, you're going to get people that come into the store, they're not really going to know what to do. So what you should do is be proactive on the education, so that way they don't get too high on the product right away. So you can always start off slow and add more on, but you can never go back when you start off big. So I always like to say that, because it's easy to drink this whole bottle because it's not that much liquid, but you don't get to go back. And that's super important to everybody that recognizes education wise. We want to be proactive on the education side, making sure that we're not teaching or encouraging overconsumption. We want people to consume the products the way it's meant to be enjoyed. And if that's the case, if you're trying to overconsume, if you're trying to drink a whole bottle of something, then find something that's a little bit easier to digest. Find something that's a little bit low dose. I've got a grape cannabis infused sparkling water. Most of these are just pop tops. Typically they're shrink wrapped to be childproof and things like that. I actually have one today. I kind of wanted to pop this up and kind of just, it's 5 o'clock here in LA. So I wanted to go ahead and crack this open. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead and enjoy. To anybody here that has a beverage in your hand, cheers. Delicious. Tastes like sparkling water with grape Laffy Taffy flavoring. I don't know why grape Laffy Taffy really stuck out, but that's to me. There's so many good products and brands out here. Beverages, syrups, pre-rolls. We've got the Lime brand here right now. They're really solid. I wanted to shout out one of the other new companies. This is a new brand here called Rated Gas. They do smokable. This is flower. Something that's really cool about flower, you guys, is that you can smoke flower a bunch of different ways. I'm going to pull out this nug here. This is the latest batch that just hit Cookies San Bernardino. For anybody that knows the song Down in the DM, you know that song, Calvin? Remember that song Down in the DM?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Oh man, that was a slapper. Remember that?
Yo
shit?
Gotti, Yo Gotti.
Oh my, Yo Gotti, and then they killed it back in the day. So the people who produced and engineered that song, they're out of Miami, right? CMG, the label. This is their brand, Rated Gas. They were in the trap. They were in the traditional market. They've officially entered the legal market in California and Oklahoma. So it's very excited. I'm going to show you guys real quick what it's like to load a bong bowl, a bowl for a bong bowl. I know that sounds funny to say that. I'm honestly not really much of a bong smoker, to be real. I'm a joint guy, to be honest. You know this. You know, when the last time you and I hung out, Calvin, it was blunts, right?
Right.
I'm a Swisher guy. You're from the East Coast. I know you're not much of a Swisher guy, but you know, we still get along. I was gonna actually have some Swishers today, but I don't want to encourage any of that kind of behavior. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So here we go. We've got a nice thick, this is what a bong looks like to anybody watching, anybody who's kind of curious. Most of the brands that are involved, you guys know what's good with all this kind of stuff. Now, the thing with bongs is that you don't actually want to fill up the bowl the whole way. Now you can, but you end up wasting weed, in my opinion, because it's going to taste bad. Oh, big shout out to Lagunitas. I see you there. ABX.
Yeah,
cheers. Hold on.
I figured I'd join you.
Cheers, brother.
Cheers. I figured I'd join you.
Woo! We're double fisting on the reviews today, on the education. What you guys just saw is how you rip a bong. You really just want to get the lighter right inside. You want to rip, pull using your mouth just like this, and inhale. You don't want to get a bunch of butane. You don't want to light the whole bowl on fire and try to burn it all at once. taste the weed, enjoy the weed, enjoy what you paid good money for, enjoy what you paid money to fly out and visit and try. That's what I encourage people to do, is to try different things. I gotta say this is gonna be a YouTube review. I just wanted to kind of flex and show you guys. There's a cross joint in the market for sale. Look at this. Legitimately a cross joint. Look at that.
Wow.
Isn't that cool?
That is cool.
So there are so many different items out there, so many good brands. We have a new flower brand here. Are you familiar with The Sandlot, the movie?
Yes.
This is Squints, one of the actors from that.
Oh, okay.
Right. So I've actually never even seen this weed. I wanted to do an exclusive unboxing here for LA NORML to see what it's like. This is some celebrity weed, right? Now, we heard good things about Houseplant, right? And Seth Rogen, we heard good things. The industry says that weed came from THC Design. They grow good weed. They're known for growing good weed, but I've never seen this. So here's what we're looking at on the packaging, right? Little jar, classic. Look, I haven't even broken the seal. Here we go, guys. Oh my gosh. The flower, the nug, the suspense. Look at this, y'all. That's a good looking nug. It's a good little gelato nug. At least that's what it smells like. Some kind of crazy gelato-ness. You know, there's so many different ways that you guys can consume. If anybody ever has any questions, please, of course, feel free to reach out. You can always message LA NORML. You can always message Respect My Region. We're on YouTube. We're on all the socials. Generally speaking, I consume cannabis probably one of 4 ways on any given day. I drink weed, I eat weed, I smoke weed, and I dab the weed. So big shout out to all the brands, Rove, Tinley's, Buddies, all the different groups that participated. I really appreciate your guys' time. Thank you for having me. I'll be here if you all need me for any more dabs, weed, flower, joint education.
Thanks, Joey. Appreciate you.
Of course.
It's been a fantastic minute of education here today. I've learned a tremendous amount from about every different product category. So, well, we'd like to open up some question and answer. So if we can bring our guests back on camera. And Nicholas, are we getting any questions in the chat? Or if we have anybody here that just has a question, raise your hand, shout it out.
Nothing in the chat yet, but it's okay. Let's go ahead and
Alvin, go.
I'm glad that Doug and Joey's here because I'm a big proponent of entertainment, music, and cannabis going together. And you, Doug, came from the entertainment world. Joey, yes. you are consistently in the entertainment world. You're big in music and you're big in combining those together. Your podcast at Hazy LA was amazing. I got a chance to see you there. You guys, if you don't mind chiming in, because I love this subject, can you talk about how these worlds are blended together and how the next 5-10 years is going to be like a perfect marriage? I think we've all been waiting for.
Oh yeah, yeah. Joey, you want to take it first, and I'll come right behind you.
Shoot, man. To be honest, I only want to hear what you have to say. I don't even want to hear what I have to say.
Okay. All right. So about a year and a half ago, I'm fortunate I know Baron Davis, and I brought Baron onto our advisory board. And besides everybody knowing Baron from his basketball days and career, you also know Baron is a really substantial influencer with a great network. So Baron and us work together through his team, if you will. And Chris Lease, which I had mentioned previously on our non-cannabis line for our Beckett's line, we put together a program with them that is now into the television world. But what's interesting is if you go to Bevmo and you pick up any of the 27s in the Beckett's world, it'll be a clear bottle, but almost identical label. When you turn it around, what we did for sort of a cross marketing, we said alcohol free with an icon, and we said cannabis free with a circle and a pot leaf and the icon. And so people will go, cannabis free, what does that mean? And it can trigger the cross thoughts in marketing to Tinley. So there's a big intersection. And also Jay-Z, as everyone knows, has done one of probably the largest SPACs that there is in raising money to not only go into his own brand, but into acquisitions of different businesses. And they partnered up with Kaliva, and Kaliva I know pretty well. And So the entertainment world is embracing it, and they're coming up with all kinds of new ways, besides to not just the social markets, but the podcast, et cetera, and they're creating their brands of their names and their identities as well. As Joey had mentioned, Houseplant with Seth Rogen and several of the other people. So it's all happening right now. You can't rely totally on the name because you got to have the quality of the product to back it up. But if you do it right, it's a great marketing influence tool.
Definitely.
I could not agree more. I could not agree more with what Doug is here is saying. I think there's some aspect of it is a trend. I think this was something that anybody who launched products at a high level into fun industries in the last 20 or 30 years, they were using influencers. I'm a Raiders fan, born and bred. So what I was, you know this to the core, Calvin.
Right.
Who was the biggest first sports influencer? Not
Bo
Michael
Jackson?
Jordan.
Oh,
Bo Jackson?
Bo Jackson.
Oh, knows.
Bo
Bo
knows.
knows.
Cannabis, right?
So when you look at Baron Davis, when you look at Cameron, when you look at Seth Rogen, these are people that have massive communities with years and years of content being served to them, brand loyalty being built, trust being established, right? A trust of quality, whether it's Baron Davis being extremely athletic and good, or knowing that he actually was one of the most giving NBA athletes, the most community-centric athletes of his generation, right?
Yes.
There's so much out there that goes beyond just the celebrity ties, beyond just what's called the gimmick in a marketing world, that this entertainment space is huge. I actually don't come from working with people that are famous. I come from working with nobodies that are slightly on the path to becoming somebodies and turning those people into influential people, helping them find their strengths and become showcased to the right areas where people care about that.
Yeah.
See, here's the deal, right? I can't tell you how many people don't care about basketball. They have no clue who Baron Davis is. But as soon as he does good things in the community, now he's not just an athlete, he's a good person too.
That's right.
And that's where entertainers or celebrities that in our world that can understand that they're going to have greater impact post-retirement, as soon as they start advocating for something that they believe in, I think that's where we're going to start to see greater impact. I don't care who the celebrity is. I don't necessarily care where the product came from. There's definitely bad rapper weed out there, and it still sells. There's definitely bad drinks out there, and they still sell to people. Not necessarily weed drinks and alcohol, but there are so many products out there, and they still exist. There's a product and a market for someone. And I do believe that where we're headed, I mean, I've got a bunch of celebrity weed sitting here right here. I fail brands if they underdeliver. When you are a celebrity, when you're a rapper, when you're an athlete, and you are used to delivering at the highest level, and then you do not, and then you cut that corner at the product level, it shows, and it shows at the highest level quickly. It doesn't just show to 20 stores. 10 million people know that you just dropped the ball. And that is actually where we're at today. Houseplant released news today saying that Canopy Growth is not the partner that's cut out for the quality standard that was established in California. And I think that's major news in itself, the fact that California cannabis is still here compared to an entire country.
Right.
Where the #1 weed celebrity, arguably in the world, not named Snoop Dogg, he's from Canada, and the weed wasn't good enough. So I think it's kind of testament to the point that you have to have good product, you have to be a good person, you have to be in the community. Otherwise, you're kind of a flash in the pan. I got a lot of celebrity weed over here. There's a lot of shit. It's not all good. It's like if it's how are they gonna sell through against all these celebrity stuffs all the time? It's tough. So hopefully, I would love to see Doug. I'd love to see some rappers and some celebrities get a hold of your dealcoholized the 27 bottles back there.
Yeah. Yep.
I actually have 3 of them in my cabinets, courtesy of Mother Nature's Remedy in Woodland Hills.
Oh yeah. Good place.
Dave and Wayne over there. Yeah. Those were gifts, Christmas gifts, to do reviews and things like that. But I would, cannot wait to see you collaborate with an E40. Right, a lot of these artists, a lot of these brands that are going to really expand it. It's such an exciting time, man. I love this. Calvin, great question.
Appreciate you. And thanks for shouting out Baron Davis, Doug. LA Unified, You Wish, Big Summits. He's doing big things. I was just at his Slick Studios over the weekend. He had it.
Oh, yeah.
Right. I actually invited you guys after the event, but.
Yeah, well, next time he has an event there, you and I'll probably see each other.
Yeah, let's invite the everybody else here.
Yeah,
So it's a great crowd to hang out with. Yeah,
absolutely.
What's the next question, guys? I appreciate you, Joey. Definitely appreciate you, Doug. I'm glad you guys got a chance to touch on that for sure.
Nicholas, do we have any questions coming from the audience?
I believe so. I think Loeli wanted to have a hand raised there. See a little hand in the corner.
Yeah. Hey, Loeli.
Yes. Hello. Hi, guys. I had a quick question for Sarah. Hi, Sarah.
Hello.
If you can talk a little bit about the chocolate and how you source it, and just the importance of that you placed in when you created the chocolate itself, because there is such a difference in the chocolates that are on the market right now, as we know. So can you speak a little bit about that and the time that you put into that?
Yeah, so when we started, we were gonna make an edible, we're gonna go into the cannabis market, it was really important for us to find the best carrier. And well, it turns out gummies are really, really popular. But at the time when we were trying to make the best product, we were looking at science. As I was saying, cannabinoids need fat to really be absorbed by the body. So we're thinking, okay, the one confections, that's full of fat that everybody loves is chocolate. So now within chocolate, there are actually many different types. You have the South American chocolate, the Central American chocolate, the American chocolate, and then you have European chocolates, and in it you have Swiss and you have Belgian and you have French. So we got all of them. So we got all of them, and we were doing this fun taste test, and everybody really liked kind of the Central American chocolate and also the European chocolate. And then we're looking at the two, and first thing we want to look at is the cocoa butter content. And we have found that the European chocolate, because of kind of its taste, it has in general more of that creamy, richer taste, whereas the Central American, South American chocolates have more of that tart and bitter taste. Some people really like that, but some people like the more creamy taste. And for us, we like the creamy taste, and we also like the fact that Belgian chocolate has a higher cocoa butter content. And because of the higher cocoa butter content, it will be absorbed by the body, more easily. And that's how we chose our chocolate. And from there, then we wanted to find a supplier that it's really important to us, to kind of support the sustainable farming and also, fair trade. So we found a supplier that is part of the Cacao Horizons, which is a certifying body to ensure fair trade and, sustainable practice. And on top of that, because to stabilize chocolate from the science side, to stabilize chocolate for it to not bloom, we need to add palm oil. And palm oil, we're like, oh my gosh, palm oil. So we're like, all right, we really need to find something that speaks to us and in the industry. So we found the supplier is part of the Roundtable of Sustainable Palm Oil, RSPO. So from there, we feel pretty good. And that's how we created our Colitas. That's the chocolate that we use is from Belgium, and it's fair trade and sustainable.
Fascinating.
Yeah,
I
to
just
us,
would like to say that I love the Colitas. I'm currently taking them right now for sleep.
Okay. Here's one product. Yay.
So fantastic. Do we have any other questions? Joey, I appreciate you taking one for the team there and continuing to demo as we go.
I forgot I was on camera still. That's totally my bad.
Yeah, right? After that first second hit, I'm sure.
Good job. You're showing us all how to do. I think you're going to make it through every product on the table here.
I had it on mute. I thought I was good. I totally
We'll leave the
apologize.
camera rolling, dude. We're gonna step away and we'll be back.
Wow.
Thanks to everybody, man. That was a great show. Great job by everybody. Really appreciate everybody on the show.
Amazing. Amazing today. So I'd really like to extend our greatest appreciation to our special guests that have joined us today to provide this valuable education. Madison Fiore, Dustin Miner, Sara Adams, Scott Szymanski, Christopher Marroquin, Douglas Fulton, and Joey Bravo. Thank you guys so much for being here. We truly, truly appreciate you all. I'd also like to thank everyone in our audience today for coming out to support Los Angeles NORML. We regularly have a lot of things going on, and I'd like to encourage you to come to our website at lanorml.org. That is LANORML.org. Sign up for our free newsletter and follow us on social media to stay abreast of our latest updates. I would also like to remind you that we are a nonprofit, all-volunteer organization, and we would truly appreciate any financial support that you're able to provide to help keep the lights on. So please consider becoming a supporting member of Los Angeles NORML at only $4.20 per month to support the important work that we're doing. To sign up as a member today, go to our website, click the Donate Now button. I think Nicholas just dropped that link in the chat window. So from everyone at Los Angeles NORML, we'd like to really send a very big thank you to our special guest speakers and to those of you in the audience for joining us here today. Peace and love to you all.